I feel like a teacher. I am Nina Hahn, SVP of Production Development for Nickelodeon. And I am really, before I begin this sort of formal speech part of this, have to say, sort of personally and professionally, deeply thrilled to be here having this presentation to you because it represents a really important moment for Nickelodeon, certainly. A long time in coming, finally being able to stand here and walk you guys through a production that has really been something that has been born outside of the U.S., outside of the Nickelodeon kind of U.S. walls, and reintroduced, redirected back into the U.S. to air across the U.S. and the rest of the world. And it's been a very long time in coming and a very long time to be able to stand here and say we've finally done it, but we've finally done it. So, not that I'm accepting an Oscar or anything, but that's what it feels like. So, here's the riddle. What's touched people in over 8 countries and has racked up an impressive 32 days straight of video conference calls, if you were to line them up end to end, and has incurred 124,000 hours of travel on a variety of modes of transportation, including planes, trains, automobiles, skateboards, pogo sticks, and yes, even a yak. Well, actually not a yak. I just wanted to say yak in a speech one day. The answer is House of Anubis. Anubis is a multi-platform venture that's been written in 4 languages from creation to transmission, and where the initial table read involved more than 50 people in 5 time zones, making it truly a global production. But what does global really mean? It is now almost 50 years since the term global village was invented by Canadian philosopher Marshall McLuhan, and never has the term seemed more apt to describe the world in which we live, a world that is unified, yet diverse, global and local, a world in which events in faraway places with strange-sounding names have an impact on my life and the community in which I live. Ultimately, we have never been more connected. In this connected world, we learn from and share with each other. We can see our common humanity and the incredible diversity with which it's expressed. Our children live and learn and play in the streets and the playgrounds of a real, virtual, global village, brought together by television and fused together by the internet, which narrows the distance and makes the local global and the global local. I should think that if Marshall McLuhan were alive today, he would most likely upgrade his statement from global village to glocal village. There are few truly local events anymore. An earthquake in Haiti is no longer a tragedy to be suffered by one nation, but something witnessed and felt across the globe, triggering a wave of compassionate action, such as the Hope for Haiti Now fundraising telethon. We know that sport is a great global unifier. Think of how this summer's FIFA World Cup brought together people of all nations, ages, races, and how it united the rich, the poor, and across the world in a global celebration of soccer. Fashion, of course, is another one of the great global forces. MBTs, skinny jeans, silly bands, Uggs, Livestrong bracelets, and even dresses made from meat have captured the imagination of so many around the world. And now the power of a global internet is one of the strongest unifiers in our kids' hands, giving birth to the latest phenomenon called Fred Figglehorn. Fred is a cult worldwide internet character which rapidly went viral with his YouTube channel, racking up nearly 100 million views since 2005. And Nickelodeon sees internet comedy as a great unifier and recognized very early on that Fred Figglehorn, a hyperactive kid with a high-pitched chipmunk voice, had a great appeal to kids of all ages, cultures, and genders. So last month, Nickelodeon in the US launched the Fred movie, and it happened to bring an audience of 7.6 million viewers to the channel. And here's a peek. There should be a peek. This is a trip down my speech I just gave you.
Hi, it's Fred! Hi, it's Fred! Hi, it's Fred!
It's the movie that has America saying,
Oh my damn it!
and next, you've got another chance to get in on the party.
This is my lucky day! That was awesome!
In the greatest hackin' movie ever, Fred, the movie. Next, only on Nick.
You're gonna ruin my brain!
With a little help of helium, I might add. Nickelodeon has developed global pipelines for content in 3 crucial ways. First, delivering US content to the rest of the world, as you well know. Secondly, producing local, regional content for local audiences. And now, thirdly, introducing local, original content from regional markets across the world and back into the US. First of all, Nickelodeon has created an unparalleled pipeline for delivering US-developed original productions of outstanding quality. Our content is made for international distribution through our own Nickelodeon International channels, as well as through third-party broadcasters across the world. Since 1979, kids everywhere have been enjoying Nick. They've laughed along with the animated shows, such as SpongeBob SquarePants and The Fairly Odd Parents. They've identified and loved live-action shows such as iCarly and Drake and Josh. And they continue to learn through Dora the Explorer and Ni Hao Kai Lan on the preschool side. And at MIPCOM this year, Nickelodeon is launching 2 new shows which follow in this distinguished tradition. Victorious, a live-action show sitcom from renowned visionary Dan Schneider, who's the creator of iCarly and Drake and Josh, and Team Umizoomi, the #1 US preschool series since it launched in the US in January of this year, which helps young kids learn about mathematics. Just to remind you, here is a sample of what we do best.
This might sting just a little bit.
In 5, 4, 3, 2.
Wow! Are you as totally stoked about this as I am?
This is the now generation.
Good morning!
This is the generation now.
Want it.
Oh man, this planet just got 500% cooler!
Let's do this.
Fast internet, stay connected, interjet, Wi-Fi, podcast, blast.
Oh my God!
And I text you back, check me on that iChat. I'm all about that HTTP or a PC, I'm a mess.
So precious!
I want it.
Tori, ever thought about coming in through the window?
No.
Think about it.
This is the now generation. This is the generation.
All good.
We are the
Yes!
Oh yeah, baby!
Are we clear?
So, content, of course, is king. At the core of Nickelodeon is its great content, shows like the ones you've just seen. Pioneering and prolific, Nickelodeon is famous for delivering hit shows and for sharing them around the world through its extensive network operation, which now embraces 51 channels in more than 100 countries. Nickelodeon has also sought to tap local creative talent and supplement our core US programs with local shows relevant to individual communities. Let me give you a couple of examples of how we use local programs to super serve local audiences. Nickelodeon Australia's Camp Orange is a reality show set in an adventure camp which takes kids out of their comfort zone and into the great outdoors. It has proved hugely popular, winning a viewing share of over 20% among 5 to 12-year-olds. In the UK, Ben and Holly's Little Kingdom, a preschool series featuring a young fairy whose magic does not always go according to plan, is a co-production with Astley Baker Davis, which has been a hit on MIPJunior since it debuted last April. Our Spanish language telenovela, Isa TKM, produced by SPT for Nickelodeon LATAM, has been a success across the whole continent, the top TV program among 12 to 17-year-olds in Mexico and Brazil, and the top Nickelodeon show in Colombia and Argentina. Let's take a look at Isa TKM. The title is SMS speak for Isa Te Quiero Mucho, which is Isa, I love you a lot. So, we have US shows reaching a global audience through Nickelodeon, and we have Nickelodeon enabling regional audiences to be served with local programs that speak their language and reflect their values and tastes. The third aspect of our role in global television is taking something from a local market and redirecting it back to the US and then out to the rest of the world. And it is here that Nickelodeon, characteristically, is making some pioneering moves, as you're about to witness. With more than 30 years of global and local experience, Nickelodeon is widely seen as one of the world's leading development partners for kids' television content. You could call it the gold standard, although internally we would probably refer to it as the orange standard. We are great at what we do because we ask kids what they want. We then listen to what they want, and then we set about working with the best partners to deliver what they want. We've developed key strategic relationships with creative partners around the world and are opening up the content pipeline so that it flows in both directions. Programs made for kids in one country can be given a wider audience by Nickelodeon in the US and across the world in many other countries. In this new global era, content can now be produced in a more borderless, studio without walls playground. Enter House of Anubis, Nickelodeon's new global production, a co-production which really shows the world what global can mean and, more importantly, what it can deliver successfully. Welcome to the world's first global telenovela for kids, Nickelodeon style, aimed equally at girls and boys with a target audience of 9 to 14, though we think it has wider appeal to reach 6 to 15. Here is the first sneak peek.
Wow. Welcome to Hogwarts. She's American and she's like totally obsessed with it. She said it like 100 times. Hi, I'm Nina. I'm from America.
Hey. Something sinister has happened to Joy.
Where is she?
There's danger in that house.
So, we're producing Anubis with Studio 100, the well-known Belgian production company with which we have a 10-year partnership, as well as Lime Pictures, which is new to the Nickelodeon family, but has previously worked with MTV. House of Anubis was born in September 2006 after Studio 100 and Nickelodeon Holland had a meeting and decided to make a mystery show for Nickelodeon in the Netherlands. And 5 seasons later, the Nick German team saw it, loved it, and made a version of Anubis for Nick Germany, also produced by Studio 100. Since then, there have been 5 series in Holland, which is more than 550 episodes, and 2 theatrically released movies. While in Germany, there were 113 episodes in season 1, and the second season has just gone into production with a further 120 episodes to come. If you really want to know what Glocal is, consider this. We are now partnering with Studio 100 in making the worldwide version of House of Anubis, which is funded by Nickelodeon in the US, shot in Liverpool with Lime Pictures, overseen by Studio 100 out of Belgium, and driven by Nickelodeon executives from both the East and West Coast in the US, who have overseen every stage of development and production, and directly supervised by myself in the UK. It will be shown globally across the Nickelodeon networks. This is the new, true meaning of global. So, a few words about the show. House of Anubis follows 8 students trying to solve a mystery in an English boarding school, an imposing 1900s manor house, which is actually the home of writer Alan Bleasdale, while dealing with the highs and lows of their teenage years. A new American resident named Nina, no, she's not named after me, arrives from the US and soon discovers that the house contains a hidden secret. As the group tries to unravel the house's deep mysteries, it becomes very clear that their lives will never be the same. If mystery and British boarding school are making you think of Harry Potter, you're on the right track. The Young Wizard and Hogwarts are certainly inspirations behind this show. But as well as mystery, there is a lot of comedy, friendship, and soap, all wrapped up in a telenovela format. You can think of House of Anubis as Harry Potter meets the Gossip Girl with a touch of Ugly Betty in an environment that has something of the Goonies about it. So kids in charge, working together to solve a mystery while experiencing friendship, comedy, and crushes of the teen and tween years. Put another way, the recipe for Anubis is equal parts comedy, mystery, and soap. One way we underscored these 3 elements was by using 3 different lighting zones for the series. In the fun and easy spaces, the classroom, the kids' bedrooms, for example, we used, which were tones of soap and comedy, we used white, happy, bright lights. In the areas that are slightly more unsafe, such as the hallways, the lounges, the lighting is amber and shadowy and quite suggestive. And finally, when the characters are in the most dangerous places, which is the basement and the attic, as basement and attics are, the lighting is gloomy, dark, and ultimately frightening. What makes this live-action show unique is its volume, 60 episodes, and its episodic length. Each episode is 11 minutes, as well as every episode ends on a thrilling cliffhanger, which always leaves you wanting more. This gives us flexibility with the best way to roll it out on air. Nickelodeon Holland and Germany, for example, have chosen a very innovative way to air Anubis by airing 2 episodes back-to-back, creating a half-hour show where the first episode is a repeat of the second one from the day before, and with an omnibus edition which airs on the weekend. We're now researching the best way to air Anubis on Nick US. So how did we do it? First of all, there's our team, an extension of the Nickelodeon US production and development group based in the UK, which is solely responsible for combing the world, looking for great kids and family content, which acts as a development and creative hub outside of the US. One of the key factors in this hub is the close collaboration we have with our local channels. This enables us to see a hit show in the making. We saw House of Anubis work well on our Nickelodeon channel in the Netherlands, and were then able to take this best practice and see how it played out in a second European country, in this case, Germany. In the Netherlands, House of Anubis has been the #1 show on Nickelodeon Holland in 2009 and 2010, and more than 7 million viewers have tuned in since January 2009, with 4.7 million watching the show so far in 2010. That's 80% of Dutch kids aged 3 to 12 having seen it. With the version in Nick Germany, similar numbers prevail. 14 million individuals have seen Das Haus Anubis since its September 2009 launch, including 4.2 million children aged 3 to 14. It has reached 58% of all German kids aged 3 to 13. As a global player, Nickelodeon is able to look across the world and, most importantly, shop in our own channel closet. We were looking for something that could be a potential hit across the world. We've been thinking for some time about making the world's first telenovela for kids Nickelodeon style, with a Nickelodeon sensibility, yet in a cost-effective way. We saw the Dutch and German versions of House of Anubis and felt that this local show pressed all the right local buttons. So I've already mentioned the role of Studio 100, famous for Maya the Bee and Vicky the Viking, but I also wanted to acknowledge the role played by Lime Pictures in the UK, which Studio 100 brought on board to co-produce the show in Liverpool. Lime Pictures is the production company behind Channel 4's teen hit drama Hollyoaks, and for MTV's Living on the Edge. And together, Studio 100, Lime Pictures, and Nickelodeon are combining to take Anubis to the next level. The show is global not just in the array of partners, but in the way we all work together. We have video conferences that bring together people in 6 different locations: London, Amsterdam, Brussels, Liverpool, New York, and LA. The scripts have been written in Dutch and German and condensed from 113 14-minute episodes to 60 11-minute episodes, and then translated into British English. And then one more final translation into American English. We have a UK writing team, and we brought on a US primetime writer to write the voice of our lead American character, Nina, and to punch up all the scripts for comedy and American sensibility. One key ingredient is the addition of the character of American Nina, the fish out of water. We did this very consciously to bring an American perspective and create a point of contact for the audience of kids in the US. As Nina gets to know this new culture, so will they. It is so important to be alert to the cultural differences. We may live in a global village, but not all the villagers speak the same language. As George Bernard Shaw famously said, Britain and the US are 2 countries divided by a common language. Brits and Americans both wear jumpers and eat jelly, but mean totally different things by those words. In fact, I can recall a situation when an American exec came to the set of House of Anubis recently and made a comment about one of the key characters, Alfie's amazing pants. And Alfie blushed because he thought she was referring to his amazing underwear, when actually she was referring to his amazing trousers. I mean pants. I mean trousers. When a Brit says the word naughty, which comes up quite a bit in the show's dialogue, it sounds very naive and very sweet. Yet when an American says it, particularly one with a New York accent, naughty, it can sound ultimately quite suggestive. And then there's the American directness versus the British reserve. But that is a completely other speech for another time. And of course there's football. But does that mean soccer or American football? The whole idea of a sporty kid proved problematic as we tried to cast our own sporty character, Bobby. The European model of a sporty kid, a thin, athletic soccer player, is quite different from that of an American football jock who's as wide as he is tall. And we had to find the sporty global kid. In creating House of Anubis for the global English language audience, we combed through the scripts carefully to decide on the right words. We wanted words that sounded authentically British, but which Americans would understand. One clever device was to use the character of Nina, the American girl, to explain unfamiliar words and act as an American kid's tour guide to the lingo. Loo-roll, quid, pash, bog, bloke, rubbish, snog. Do you have any idea what I'm talking about? When we were told that someone was going to tuck into bangers and bubble and squeak, we had no idea what they were talking about. And for those of you who are also in the dark, it means eating sausages and fried up leftover vegetables. House of Anubis is more than a TV program. It's about a multi-platform content, and there is an online game that unfolds as the mystery is developed during the TV series. This offers a deeply immersive experience where kids can play along as their favorite characters and enjoy many hours of gameplay over the many weeks of watching television. The world of kids' entertainment is changing, and Nickelodeon is at the forefront of this change, standing right next to the kids and families that we serve. In House of Anubis, the world's first global telenovela for kids, we're taking regional production to the next level and setting down a marker for the future. It's not the first time that Nickelodeon has been a pioneer. When Nickelodeon launched 31 years ago, no one was producing original content for cable. We pushed the boundaries with a show called You Can't Do That on Television. And when Clarissa Explains It All came along, we were the first to produce and foster the lead female character, thereby inventing the teen queen. We completely reinvented animation and set up a dedicated TV animation studio in California before anybody else had even thought about doing it. Nickelodeon, the #1 kids network in the US for the past 10 years, has continued to innovate, not least with our global one-brand vision aligning Nickelodeon's entire global network. At Nickelodeon, we like taking risks, we like blazing a trail, and we like looking into the rear-view mirror at all our competitors. And we have many successes over the years as a result. And we believe that House of Anubis will find a rightful place among these successes, and most importantly, delight kids and families all over the world. Thank you.